If I traded it all, if I
So
gave
welcome
it
back. Now, my next guest has been on with me several times, and I absolutely adore her. She is Doris Milton, and let me just say something. First of all, she's a PhD and an RN. She's the founder and the owner as well of Healthcare Career Growth. Now, I know you've been on the show several times before.
Yes.
You have a niche, and today I have somebody that you need to meet too. I had on my show. I'll have to tell you about it.
Okay.
That was on earlier. But tell everybody, we're just talking today. It's been so fun. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and really what you do and why you do what you do.
Well, Carol, I love being here because what I really enjoy is that I've had a dream career in nursing and healthcare. And I've gotten over the fact of saying how long. It's a long time. And I've gotten to do a lot of different things. I've been employed. I've been self-employed. I've been involved in healthcare systems as in direct care and as a director of research and education. I've been in universities in faculty positions and administrative positions. I've been a dean. I've done everything in both of those systems. Plus, I've been self-employed. So I've been a professional speaker and author. I've traveled as far away as Australia to speak. So to me, I've just had and continue to have a dream career. And I want that for others. And what I find is that people don't have access to resources to help them. It's not that they're not bright enough to do something, but when I talk to them, they're sort of waiting, and I describe it very often as hope is not a good career strategy. So they're sort of hoping that something different will come along. Now, many of them, it's not that they're dissatisfied necessarily with what they're doing, but when I ask them, what would you like to be doing 3 years from now or 5 years from now, their eyes light up and they tell you in general what they'd like to do. And then when we focus on, so what are you doing now? They may be working on very important and very urgent projects, lots of interesting activities. They may have even published and presented at professional conferences. But when we take a look, one thing does not connect to the other. And when I point that out, they're flabbergasted that they've spent all of this time in their mind spinning their wheels. Not really, because they've been doing important things, but the things that they're doing are not helping them get to where they say they want to be.
And not everybody knows where they want to be.
No.
And that's big.
A lot of people don't know the options that are open to them. And sometimes they're thrown into it very quickly. I myself have been reorganized out of positions without any warning. Now, if I paid attention, there were probably warning signs along the way.
They're the red flags of the world.
Well, a cartoon I saw is when they move you into the broom closet. That's a sign that your position is close to being on the way out.
Yeah.
But sometimes the signs are not that clear. Sometimes they're in a position that they really like and they would like to continue doing for 20 or 30 years. It may not exist 20 or 30 years from now. And if it does, the qualifications, even in 5 years, may be totally different than they are now. So if they really like what they're doing, it's wise to develop a plan to prepare to have all of those qualifications when they do need them.
Well, I don't remember, but I'm going live on Facebook no matter what we're doing right now. We didn't talk about, but we are live. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this after the show so that everybody seems to like that. And what we want to do is make sure that everybody gets this information. It is a niche. She does deal with people in the health care industry. We want people to understand that. But what I do like about this show and every show that I do now is that it's information.
Yes.
And we've talked about this before. You'll get it at the most obscure times and from the most obscure way that people get to you. But the information is going out, and I like to say this. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone that you know. It's a good information to write down, to say, hey, I heard this on the Networking Arizona show. You might be interested because you might be in this position one day. The first thing that you should really do is check her out. Check her out on her website. It's healthcarecareergrowth.com. You can also call her direct, and she does a free consultation. We're going to talk about that. And that is calling her direct. It's 602-944-3292. We've got our lines open here, and I'm going to do what we did from the beginning, which is a complimentary career strategy session. It's 30 minutes. Let me say, and I don't know if it comes with the tips and sheet, with the tip sheet.
I can send them the tip sheet. I have a tip sheet because I found that many people do marvelous things to develop their career, and then they shoot themselves in the foot, and there are very common things that they do. So I have a sheet that has the seven most common ways they do that and ways they sabotage their career. So either one or both, they can be in touch with me about.
What I like too about it, having a tip sheet is what's really great, is it gives you ideas that maybe you weren't thinking about, you know, and just think about what you want going forward. You might think you're very safe in your job, but you really never know. And on top of that, what is going to happen 3 years from now, what you want for yourself. It's a free complimentary strategy session. It's 30 minutes. My number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Call in here and get it. Get it from me, and give it to someone if it's not for you. If this is something, it's important, because like anything else, nothing is forever. Right?
No, and I find that, I guess, and I'm more comfortable talking about healthcare, and the principles probably apply it to many fields, but I find when I talk with healthcare professionals that their career right now is the same as mine has been for years. Work long, hard hours on important, urgent projects and activities, and you come home and you're very tired. You still have laundry to deal with, and your mail, and groceries, and all the different things we routinely have to deal with. And we don't necessarily devote enough time. And what I found when I talk to people is they think that preparing for something in the future is going to be extremely hard and complex. And actually the process I take them through is very simple. And it doesn't take as much time as they think to plan and implement it. And especially once you've planned something, it doesn't take that long. I tell people if they even only have 15 minutes, there's something they can do to move themselves forward in that 15 minutes. And I was thinking, I guess of the quote I like the best is Henry Kissinger. And he said, "There can't be a crisis next week. My schedule is already full." And I think that's how many of us feel. I can't plan for my future career, even though I may want to do something different. I may want to do something to make more money. I may want to contribute more than I'm able to do in my current position. We don't feel like we have the time to do it. But I tell people, if you don't think you have the time, you need my process more than somebody who thinks they have the time.
Right. And again, it's an easy, and you said they're even proven. They're proven steps.
I've been using them for 25 years now. 7-step system that I take people through. It's all individualized, not my idea about what they should do. But one advantage of it is that many healthcare organizations have, of necessity, had to cut back on the resources that they provided in the past to help people develop their careers. So the resources aren't necessarily there. And I've heard from several people that even if they think they have someone they can talk to about it might help them, they don't know anymore who they can trust. And it's not an evil thing. It's really more that someone happens to make a comment to someone else that you don't intend to be in that position.
Right. You tell one person, believe me.
Telegraph, telephone. Yeah.
Everybody knows.
Yeah. Everybody knows.
And it's not easy. It's something that you put, when you're on this show, the way that I look at it is you plant that seed in their minds. And we know that not everybody that is listening is in the medical field, but we also know that you certainly might know somebody. And
everybody knows somebody who's in healthcare. And I've dealt with all different disciplines in healthcare. I have worked with physicians and nurses, nurse practitioners, pharmacists, physical therapists. It doesn't matter what the profession is, or even if they want to switch professions, whether they want to stay in the same profession. For example, I'm talking right now with a woman who's a pharmacy technician, And she talked to me, she said, I've always wanted to be a nurse practitioner. And I thought first maybe a pharmacist, but now that I'm a pharmacy technician, I really want to go back to my original dream of a nurse practitioner. And she didn't know where to start. And we're working together so that even the assignments that she does in her basic and advanced, she'll have to go through at least a master's degree program, if not a doctoral and nursing practice program, so that what she's doing there is not separate from her goal of being a nurse practitioner. And she wants to be in women's health.
And there's a lot of people also, maybe you want to retire, maybe you want to semi-retire, maybe you want to do something that is different or maybe even related to the healthcare industry on a lighter way, in a, not as...
Or a different way. Some people have been active, say, in a healthcare system for a number of years, and now they want to move into being a faculty member.
There's a lot of different reasons. Now, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we want to talk further. We've got our lines open here. You're getting a complimentary career strategy session. It's 30 minutes. Our number here is 602-277-5369.
If I traded it all.
So welcome back. We're talking with Doris Milton, and we're talking about the healthcare career and how she can help people. You've been doing this part. I know you've been in the healthcare industry forever in every area and every avenue, but how long have you been doing the, the healthcare career growth for them?
At least 25 years. It started when I was contacted years ago by people who wanted me to be the motivational speaker for Nurses Week. And I said, I can't do motivation anymore. The nurses I work with are very motivated. They're very inspired. And so the person I spoke with said, well, what else can you think of? I said, well, let me think of it overnight. And then I thought, well, I've dealt with so many people in healthcare who really want to do something else, and I've talked to them informally about it. Maybe I could put it in a package. And I've refined that over the years into seven steps. So we take one step at a time, and each one lays the foundation for the next. And so the critical one, as you were talking about earlier, is deciding what it is they'd like to be doing 3, 5, or sometimes 10 years from now. Because you can't just decide, as any professional, on Friday afternoon that you want to be doing something different on Monday. It takes often years to do things. So once we have that figured out, and then one of the next steps that takes some time but is not hard is to find out what the qualifications are and what they will be for that position. So you may know what they are now, but what are the qualifications going to be?
How would you know? How do you find out all that?
Well, you can do a lot of projections. A lot is in the literature these days, for example, about the influence of robotics and stem cells and how all of that is going to change how we practice, how we educate. Are we educating now for people to have a good foundation for 10 years from now? We really need to think about that. There's a lot going on at different conferences. I look at conference brochures and what's in the professional journals. They talk a lot about future.
So you help them with the research of it.
Oh, yeah. Because, for example, if I work with someone and we figure out, as most professionals do, that they should really have some professional publications. It's not just publishing something. What should they be publishing and in what journal? Who is going to be making the decision, whether they're employed or self-employed, about whether they're qualified to do what they do? And you want to be published in that journal, a respected journal, not just published anywhere. And you can't just publish on anything. What is going to help you be seen as the expert or the logical choice?
Any field. I want to say, because there are people who are listening that a lot of nurses out there, what other could they just be maybe they go and they have an in-home healthcare facilities.
Nurses can practice wherever there are people, and that's true for many other healthcare professionals as well. For example, physicians have a role, all different types of physicians, whether it's a medical doctor, an osteopathic, chiropractic, naturopathic, they have a role wherever there are people, so they can pick and choose their setting, and some choose a combination. And I'm finding that a lot lately, that people want to be involved in a healthcare system or a formal group practice, say for 2 or 3 days a week, but then they might want to be a researcher. A lot of physicians are researchers 1 or 2 days a week and don't see any patients those days, but are helping to build the knowledge base that other physicians can use.
And I am sure because of the healthcare system, and I've just thought about this, that changed so drastically, and everything is so different, and a lot of
Yes.
people that are working, I don't know, I just know that they're like they have these groups now, and it's not the same as when you went to work for, let's say, a doctor. Now you're in a group,
Mhm.
and they have turnover by turnover. I don't even know what's going on.
I know.
I mean, I know for me as a
Yeah.
patient, I'm seeing different
It
every
can
time.
be
So
hard. It's because continuity is important, but there are different ways of building that continuity. The same is true with nurse practitioners. They can be part of a group practice, or they can practice independently.
could it be something as, we're talking healthcare here, so I'm just trying to talk to everybody out there that's listening. How about a masseuse? Could it be someone, is that a healthcare industry?
Yes, it is. Certainly anything that has
Maybe they get
to do
carpal
with,
tunnel because they
with
can't do their hands anymore. I'm just saying, what could it be?
well, it can be a variety of things. And I guess the commonality is that people think they can only do one thing. Okay. And yet I have worked with many people who put together a combination. I did that myself many years ago as I was employed 3 or 4 days a week, and I was self-employed a couple of days a week. I worked with one nurse years ago who loved working in ICU, and I understand that. I used to work there. But she said after 3 days there, that was really enough, and she wanted to do something different. So she set up her own small business on the side with helping seniors prevent falls. So she went to different assisted living facilities and assessed people's individual living spaces to see what put them at risk for falls. She had a whole list of resources that they could avail themselves of. I'm getting calls lately, too, from people who want to retire, but they don't want to stop totally. They know they have a lot of knowledge and skills in their head, and they're searching for some other way
And
where
you
they
have to
could
start
use
your own
that.
thing. I mean, I love that
Yeah, it
that you
can
did
be.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't have to. Maybe you don't want to work
It
for
may
somebody.
not exist. Even formal positions in organizations may not exist. One of the positions I had didn't exist before I created it. And that's true for many people in healthcare. You identify a problem that needs to be addressed and find a way to address it.
And she helps you do that, and she can
I
help you
love
think
it.
about
Yeah.
that. She can also help you decide on some decisions or where to go and how to do it. It's a 7-step proven 7-step that she has that for you guys out there. And we've got everybody, our lines are open here for you to get a complimentary career strategy session, and that's a 30-minute session. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Whether it's you or someone that you know, write the number down. Call in here, get it from me, and then I can get you connected with her. Again, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Check her out on her website. It's healthcarecareergrowth.com. You can also call her direct. She does a free consultation. She wants to talk to you guys out there. It's at 602-944-3292. This career strategy session also comes with some tips, a tip sheet that you can have that is going to help you jog your mind as to kind of, get you going and thinking about what it is that you may want to do. Or maybe you don't like what you want. You're going to find out what you don't want to do. That's always good, too, to start that way. Go ahead.
Yeah, very important. That one of the steps I take people through is what are the things about what you're doing currently do you like, and what things don't you like? Because you don't want to be spending a lot of time and energy developing something different, and it contains a lot of the things that you don't like.
Sure.
Either.
Well, there's a lot of different reasons. But again, we want to make it clear that it's a healthcare industry, that's your niche. And I mean, this channel, when we're listening here on KFNX, we have a lot of professionals that do listen. We don't know how many of you guys are in the medical industry, but what I do know is that some of you married to them, and some of them are living with them. You always know one that's a friend. And, we all know that people out there are struggling with what they're doing. A lot of people do what they do just because, let's say their parents were doing it,
Or they've done it for so many years.
They don't know anything else. They think they don't anyway.
They think they don't. That's the key.
Right.
And there are many, many options.
And the only
out
way you're
there.
going to know is having that consultation.
Well, and having somebody to partner with you so that you're not just sitting there all by yourself trying to think about what you'd like to do and is this an okay plan or not? I do know that.
But one thing too, it's not like you're just that coach that got into this.
Right.
No, you're somebody who has been in every single nook and cranny of every medical
I sure
field.
have.
And so you really know it and then
And
you
I
also
know
do the
how to
research
help
for it.
other people to do it as well. I've helped many, many people over the years be in their dream career. Get rid of those limitations that I can't do this, I don't have the time, I don't have the qualifications. People are often surprised at how prepared they are to do something else.
Give another story. I love the one about that one who started the helping seniors from falling. What's another one that you've done? For men. Can you one for a man?
Well, it doesn't matter wher you're male or female.
Just a story. Go
I've
ahead.
had
Go
just a
quickly.
number
Have
of
a minute.
people who've said, I really want to be a faculty member, but I really don't know how to get started. And they have these big ideas about and they have a lot that they can transmit and help educate the people in the future. So I've worked with men, women, and they become faculty members. And again, that's not something these days that you have to do full time. And it can be in person, it can be online, it can be a combination. So there are so many different possibilities. I've had people who've come up to me and said, I really want your job. And I said, okay, let's sit down and plan out because I don't want to be in this forever. So let's plan out how you could be qualified to do it.
She's giving everybody a complimentary career strategy session. It's a 30-minute session. It comes with a tip sheet. Our number here, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Check her out. She's on LinkedIn as well. Her website is healthcarecareergrowth.com. Call her direct if you like and just talk to her. Her number is 602-944-3292. And I say call in here. Listen up, everybody. Write the number down. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone that you know. Call in here and get this free career strategy session. Get the tips. That alone is worth it. 602-277-5369. Networking, it makes a difference.